we are covering the very first process in PRINCE2, starting up a project, often abbreviated as SU. This is a pre-project process, meaning it happens before the project is formally initiated. Its entire purpose is to answer one critical question: do we have a viable and worthwhile project? It's a filter to prevent poorly conceived projects from ever starting, ensuring that time and money are only invested in ideas that have been properly vetted. The trigger for this entire process is the project mandate, which is a high-level document from corporate or program management that essentially says, we need a project to do this. On the exam, you must be crystal clear on the activities within SU. The first step is to appoint the executive and the project manager. The executive is accountable for the project's success, and the project manager handles the day-to-day work. Next, you capture previous lessons. This means creating a lessons log and reviewing reports from past projects to avoid repeating mistakes. After that, the project management team is designed and appointed. This involves defining the roles needed for the project board and support functions. A key activity is then preparing the outline business case, which is the initial justification for the project, explaining why it's needed. This is owned by the executive. Finally, the project manager assembles the project brief and creates the initiation stage plan. The project brief is the key output of this process, providing a foundation for the next process, initiating a project. Let's use an exam-style example. A corporate directive, the project mandate, is issued to develop a new customer relationship management system. In the starting up the project process, the head of sales is appointed as the executive, and a senior IT manager is appointed as the project manager. They immediately review the lessons log from a previous failed software implementation. They then design the project board, identifying who will represent the users and suppliers. The executive, with help from finance, drafts an outline business case showing the expected reduction in sales cycle time. The project manager then compiles all this information into the project brief and creates a detailed plan just for the next stage, the initiation stage. A very common exam trap is to confuse the starting up a project process with the initiating a project process. Remember, SU is the short pre-project process to verify the idea is sound. Initiating a project is the much more detailed planning process that happens next. Another trick question revolves around the outputs. The main output of SU is the project brief, not the project initiation documentation or PID. The PID is the main output of the initiating a project process. Also, be careful with the business case. In SU, it is only an outline business case. The detailed full business case is developed later, during initiation. Here's a mental shortcut to remember the key outputs of this process: briefly plan to initiate. This reminds you that the two primary outputs are the project brief and the initiation stage plan, which together provide the authority to move into the initiate a project process. This simple phrase helps distinguish the SU outputs from the more detailed documents created later. The goal here is to do the minimum work necessary to decide if it's worth proceeding with detailed planning. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.